Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma and today we're in the garden and we're gonna refresh some mulch. So we're actually doing a refresh in the backyard, but I'm in the front yard to show you the pile of mulch that we have. If you remember back in the fall, late summer last year, we got a big, huge pile of free wood chip mulch, and that came from our local PUD, or Public Utility District, aka our power company. When they cut down trees to get out of the power lines, they put all their tree material into a big giant shredder, and then they have this huge amount of bark and wood chips to get rid of and do something with. And of course they have lots and yards that they can, like commercial yards that they can drop their chips off on, but it's really handy for them if residents want to use some of that material. So last year they were cutting down a bunch of trees down the way a little bit at a neighbor's, a neighbor, and I think it was like two neighbors maybe. Anyway, they had to clear some road trees, and I had Spencer go talk to them and had them drop off a big giant pile in the front of our house, and we used it to mulch the whole front of our house and the back walkway and behind our rhododendrons in the backyard. And we created a brand new, all new mulched area in the backyard and got rid of a ton of grass, which was really great because it's where our dogs tend to go to the bathroom, and so the grass was super spotty and not looking very nice. So mulching was like a great solution. We also used it in the mermaid garden in the pathway, the walking pathway. So it's been on the ground for like 8 months or so, 6-8 months, and well, it's been longer. It's May, so at least 8 months, maybe 10 months. Anyways, through the winter, it's, just gotten beat down. It's gotten, the wind blew it away a little bit, and especially in the backyard, where the dogs go to the bathroom, we're picking up the dog messes, and you inevitably pick up the bark along with it. Always that very first year, it goes on really super fluffy, like 8 inches, and then it compresses down. So it's always a good idea to do a little refresh. If we didn't have any extra material, we wouldn't need to do a refresh yet, but it's great because we do have extra material, and we do need to get rid of it and get it off the property, or, spread it out on the property rather than having it in a big, huge pile. So I'm going to show you the pile that we have left. Spencer's been working all day putting piles in the back for me to rake out. I'm just better at it than he is. I'm able to do a really quick, smooth, even layer when I'm raking. It's just experience, and I'm just good at it. So he did all the hard labor for me and got all that mulch back there. And we went ahead and used it on a walkway up here, and then I'll show you what we're doing in the backyard. So we used it in this walkway leading to our hose. This is our rose garden over here, and the front walkway over there, and we just used some of that free mulch right there. You guys, look at this K-anomalies. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And the Kyria japonica behind it. I love how this red K-anomalies reflects the red of rhododendron back there. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so over here next to our driveway, we have this. This is what's left of our pile. It was like this. It came out all the way up against this Rose of Sharon, and up there and down. So we have put a really good dent in it. Like I said, last year we did this whole front of our house. So this is about 60 feet long, and I think we're our mulch goes about 8 feet wide. So that's great. It's been doing its job. But you guys know that we use multiple different types of mulches. So this is a fine bark brown mulch. This is the brand, Scott's. And so we have that in different areas, and then we have the dark compost in other areas. And then of course we have tons of ground covers as a living mulch. So let's go ahead and head into the backyard, and I'll show you what we have going on there. So in our backyard, we have this free mulch in this bed, in this walking path, and behind all those shrubs. And then last year, we created this whole new space of all new mulch. So everything from here over is new last year. So you can see how it just starts, it gets a little thin in different places. I think that those might have been from moles popping up, but it just gets a little bit thin, especially the first year. So Spencer has brought me piles to rake out. And then this section in the walkway, it gets really thin because, one, we're walking on it every single day. And the dogs use this area to run and to go to the bathroom on. So when we're picking up messes, obviously, we're picking up bark too. So you can kind of see, and we've been planting, we planted all of these, we planted those, and that creates kind of a dirt mess too. So you can see how thin it kind of is here. And so then we're just gonna rake out these piles, and it'll look fresh, it'll just feel really nice. And then I'll just show you over on this side, we don't need to do it again yet. Oh, he does have a pile here, so that's nice. I'll just go ahead and rake it out, which is fine. But of course we need to pull some weeds. This area doesn't really get used. We don't walk back here. The dogs tend to not walk back here either. So it doesn't need to have as much mulch refreshed over here. We do not put it where Jasmine's bed is, because her long fur gets all these kinds of things, all these twigs get stuck in her fur. So under her bed, we just keep really clean. And of course she has a bed and a dog house to lay in, but we don't put mulch underneath there. We actually built that dog house for our dog Jack before he passed away. He loved kennels and like the dog house. He liked being in a cozy little space. But when it's hot, Jasmine will use that dog house to relax in. And she could see the whole garden from there. It's a really good place for her to hang out. And then Ginger just won't lay in the garden at all. She only wants to lay on the deck or in the house on a couch somewhere. She's not big on hanging out in the garden, but Jasmine loves it outside here. Also, a little side note about free bark from the city or from landscaping companies or tree companies. In our small rural community, we go ahead and just ask the power company for their extra bark chips. But bigger companies or bigger cities, when I lived in Portland, Oregon, and Salem has it too, probably other, big cities, but there's a company there that's called Chip Drop, and they're basically like a hub that contracts with all the different companies that might have shredded bark chips, landscaping companies, tree removal companies, power companies, probably new build construction, parks and rec, all those companies that might have a large amount of trees that they chip and need to dispose of somewhere. Chip Drop works with them, and basically what you would do as a homeowner is you would contact Chip Drop and you would say, I need 4 yards of bark or an entire truckload or whatever the cubic footage is that you have available. I think they have it online too, so you could just it's just like a drop down menu. And then they will, when somebody calls them, like a tree removal company or a power company calls them and says, hey, we're in this neighborhood, is there a address that we could drop it off at? And they would let them know, oh yeah, this address needs this much or wants this much. I think there might be a small fee. I can't remember if there's a fee or not. I think there is a delivery fee. But it's a lot more economical than buying finished mulch. But the big difference is it is not screened. It is not, it's not dyed at all. So it is all kinds of different kind of colors, and they fade to at different rates, like gray out or stay, sustainable. Like a cedar might stay a little bit red, but anything else would gray out pretty quickly. So not dyed, it's not screened. So if that company had thrown in some invasives like English ivy or something like that, those little bits of ivy that didn't get completely pulverized may end up in your bark mulch, and it may root and it may thrive. And so when you do lay these down, you want to watch out for any new weeds that you wouldn't expect. And obviously you'd probably be weeding it anyways, but if you're laying it down to prevent weeds and there's weeds on top, it's kind of like, where do these weeds come from? They're either seeds that have just blown in, which is inevitable. That's how most of us get our weeds. But it could also be a weed that is mixed in with that bark mulch that you just received. So just keep your eye out on that if that's if you decide to go that route. It is totally raw, so it's pretty acidic, and as most bark mulch is anyway. What else? Oh, there's no telling what kind of trees are being shredded, right? So you don't know if they had any kind of a disease or anything like that. So I like to use mine in pathways mostly, where we're just walking and it doesn't matter, and they're not going to affect my plants so much. I definitely don't use it around any vegetables or anything edible. Yeah, I just try to I will put it around established shrubs and trees and grass, because they're less likely to be susceptible to something that's in the bark that, might slowly break down and affect the soil, but they're already so established that they have an immune system to fight that off. But I wouldn't put it around any tender perennials. I wouldn't put it around anything really susceptible to disease if you have like tender plants or baby plants. And then the other thing that we don't love about it is it's really chunky, and not just chunky like bark. Let me get a piece. So you might have chunks like this, which is, you know, pretty fine. You might also end up with big chunks like this, which isn't terrible. The pieces that drive us crazy are basically, they're like little twigs from the trees. So like this kind of stuff. It gets caught in the rakes, it gets caught in the cuffs of your pants, it gets caught in our dog's fur. So we try our best to kind of weed that out as we're putting it into the wheelbarrows to bring to the different spaces. Or it kind of floats to the top, and I can just rake it out carefully, and I'll put it up against the sides of like fences and stuff like that where nobody's walking, and it'll just break down and it'll be fine. What we do like about it is that it doesn't break down as quickly as a finished mulch will. It tends to stay looking like it is a little longer, and it doesn't break down as fast as like the brown mulch that we use, the decorative mulch. But yeah, so if you have a chance and you see somebody cutting down trees, don't be afraid to just ask them, like, hey, what do you do with all those trees that you're mulching into, you know, a truck right now? Would you be willing to drop them off at my property? And they're really good at maneuvering their trucks into kind of tight spaces and get it where you want it to be dropped off. So in my experience, every time I've had any kind of delivery done, even by the tree guys, they, you know, they're used to working with big open spaces and not landscapes. So I do kind of keep that in mind when I'm choosing a spot for them to drop it off, but usually they do a really good job. All right, so now it is all refreshed with fresh mulch. We got that whole space done, this whole space done, all the way down the walkway and behind, like, just that corner, really. All right, so that's gonna do it for this video. I hope that you were inspired and you got some ideas of how you can mulch your garden. So far this month, we've talked about mulching with compost, mulching with bagged mulch that's dyed, and mulching with free bark chips, and the pros and cons of those types of mulches. We have one more mulch project that we're going to share with you that you'll see after this video, and then really our mulching will be done for the year, which is fabulous. I'm excited to have that checked off and done. So until the next time, keep celebrating your life, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.